All right, I think I'm live. See if anybody actually joins this before I tweet anything out. And for the few of y'all that actually do join early, I'm gonna have you guys help me and get the volume settings right. Make sure the mic, everything else is good. Background music. I want to make sure that all of that stuff is set up properly before I dive into anything. Actually, shoot, I'll just tweet it out. Why not? Give me just a minute. Yo, so okay, everything sounds good. That is perfect. I appreciate that. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tweet this out then, and we'll get going here in just a second. It's funny, I'm so bad with this stuff. Like, gotta practice, man. That's what this is about. That's what the late night hours are about. It's been way too long. So I appreciate any of y'all that are actually on here right now for this. We'll dive in. Lots of random stuff to talk about tonight. Obviously, corn is dipping some. We can talk about bald and base. Heck, I'll even let y'all that are on here, we'll dive through and we can talk through some of the Degen meme plays that are out there. I mean, heck, I've got the other Bitcoin chart pulled up right now, so we can check that out. Whatever else you guys want to go through, you just name names and I will check them out for you. It's embarrassing. I'm just figuring out right now how to get the share. There it is. No, it's kind of fun though, only having 6 of y'all on here right now. Like, I actually don't expect to have too many more whenever I tweet this out. It's kind of late night hours anyway. I usually stream this over to Twitch as well. I decided not to tonight. Maybe that's a mistake. I don't know, man. I kind of just feel like Twitch is, and maybe I'm completely wrong on this, I feel like Twitch just isn't the move compared to YouTube. As far as focusing on content creation. And whenever I have the concurrent streams rolling, I've noticed there is like this bifurcation in the audience to where a decent amount of people will be on one and then not the other. And then the weird thing about algos are they pick up on more heavily concentrated viewership for each platform. So I'm just going to say F it and stick to YouTube. But give me a second. I'm tweeting this out finally. Yeah, but I mean, drop in the comments what else you guys want me to check out tonight. And, I will go through as much as I can. For me, this is just about kind of building the habits back and knocking off the rust to get back into it because it's been way, 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 way too long. And again, if the music is too much, if it's too loud or too distracting, let me know. I'm just going with the big booty mixes because one, I think they're pretty badass, but two, the duration that they have for each clip on each song, you're not infringing on any copyright issues for any playback on the stream. So makes it a lot easier to not really have to worry about all of that type of stuff. 3, it's high energy and it's kind of late. I'm used to being in bed by now, even though I'm a Degen. I haven't retrained myself for this. So it is late enough that I want to keep the energy up, But yeah, that's what I'm going with right now. So any silent spots, you at least have something to something to keep you entertained in the meantime. Give me just a second. I'm typing up this tweet. Okay. And yeah, you know, honestly, like, I don't care if a ton of people don't join this. Again, I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it to break the rust and just get back in the cycle. Ideally, I want to be doing this every weekday. Won't really be able to get that set up until later next week. You know, hopefully the next couple of days I can get on here a bit more. But you know, it's a little bit more difficult to be as consistent on. Well, I've got a few things coming up this weekend that I've got to take care of first. Family is moving from our childhood home that they've been in for the past 30 years. So I've got to make a trip back, help the parents with that, and, you know, be out of the rhythm for a little bit. But after that, again, it's like we spent so much time getting on here and so much time diving through and looking at these charts, right? You know, like we're going through the different. So it's like, why not get on stream and as you're doing it, be productive at the same time and have a conversation with you guys? You know, one, hopefully helps you all out, shares a little bit of my style of thinking. But number two, you know, it also is something I think it's healthy as far as just challenging my perspective as well. And there have been several opportunities from streams where I've gotten into it. And, you know, whether it's a stream or a live space or any of those type of conversations, and it's just opened up an opportunity for diving into something that maybe I hadn't considered previously. So I learned from you guys as well. But yeah, you know, I guess, again, not doing this for the major viewership, but at the same time, I appreciate it. So if you guys wouldn't mind dropping a like, you know, sharing this, engaging with whatever I've got up there on Twitter. You know, I think that still subliminally, there's something about the dopamine of actually having people, you know, that care about this stuff that makes it worth doing. But, you know, like, I like the hustle too. So if you start from a modest place, and, you know, starting on any new platform is modest beginnings, right? Especially in the middle of a bear market. So, you know, I think that there is something that is a little bit more, you know, special about kind of the hustle, the grind of getting back into it as well. I appreciate that paper clip. Feels good to be back here. And Spencer Soberwall, I think I said that correctly. You know, maybe soon, man. I've really thought through it, and it's tough to it's tough to think of too many reasons not to do a face reveal at this point. And, you know, there were a lot of people that, I say a lot of people, I didn't have nearly as many followers back in the day, and I already wiped my tweet history of all that stuff. But, you know, I was face doxed back in the day, from, you know, 2018 through early 2020. I was face doxed, and that's a fun little known fact. So back in the day I was, and then my account started to grow a little bit. You know, everything was happening with the meme, not meme stocks, but, you know, the COVID rebound, everything else. And I think I just got a little bit paranoid. You know, you hear all those horror stories about, just people that, you know, they make one wrong step, and, you know, they, by selling their privacy, yeah, like, it's something that you can never get back. So, you know, even if you don't have anything to hide, it's like, there are crazies that are out there, man. Like, one, there are crazies, and then two, it's just kind of nice, you know, like, I've never been somebody that really wants the attention. You know, I like being low key everywhere I go, you know, like going to the crypto conferences whenever I go there, and you're just there kind of hanging out in the background. And, you know, you jump in on a conversation, and occasionally, you know, maybe somebody out there will notice your voice. But I mean, most of the time people don't, and you're just able to blend in. And if you want to dive into who you are a little bit more, you have that opportunity. But outside of that, I mean, you have the opportunity to be whoever you want to be. And I think there's something really special about that, right? Having the freedom to be able to step into any space at any moment and be who you want. And, you know, that's one of the things I really value about full anonymity. So anyway, that was way too long of an answer for one face reveal. But yeah, you know, like I'll dive into the Bitcoin chart here in a second. We'll talk through what's happening in the market, you know, where we are right now with the halving cycle. You know, again, if you guys want to dive into the meme coin degeneracy, we can go down the Gecko terminal and we'll look up a few of those names for you also. I mean, you can give me any name. I don't like, hey, you all might, I was a little bit too harsh, I think, on some of the meme coin degeneracy the other day with my tweets, at least the way that it came off. You know, I like people talking about 25K market cap coins. It's just a little bit too ridiculous, but you know, hey, I'll talk about any of it for you. I'll dive in. There are only, you know, 50 people on the stream right now. It's nobody. So, but no, not yet. I see you guys dropping the tickers. I will get to this stuff. It's important. But I want to go ahead and dive into, let's see. Let me get a quick sip of water. Yeah, we can touch a little bit. I see somebody asking for Tesla. We can touch a tiny bit on equities too. I don't want to do too much on equities just because I feel like the majority of people that are actually on here right now really could care less about equities because you're up, you know, late in the evening, early in the morning over, you know, depending on where you are in the world. And I just think the majority of people that are up at this hour that are paying attention to the crypto market care more about what's happening in the degeneracy of the crypto market. You know, I love equities. Equities are fun. I enjoy diving into the equities side of things. And I think there's a lot of opportunity in the equities stuff. And, you know, like that's the fringe level of the conversation that we'll dive into. Yeah, 6 a.m. in Italy, man. Love it. But yeah, I'm going to give the degens what they want tonight. Okay, do you want me to look at Doge or do you want me to look at Elon Zuck Fight Club 10 Inu? I'm just messing around. Because I think I saw one called Elon Zuck 10 whatever freaking Inu the other day, ticker Doge, just like ticker Bitcoin. And you know, like I think people after the success of ticker Bitcoin, and it's weird that you have to say ticker Bitcoin, but, you know, you have to be able to distinguish the difference of the two. So, you know, I think the other day after the innovation of ticker Bitcoin, you know, people have basically just done ticker whatever the name of the coin is. So, you know, there's like a ticker Solana and a ticker Doge and a ticker all of these other names. And I don't think any of them have been able to replicate the success of Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu yet. But, you know, it doesn't mean that it is impossible that one of those will, depending on how far and how deep the degeneracy of the meme season really goes to. But yeah, anyway, you know, we'll start real quick with where we are right now. You know, first off, in today's events in the crypto industry, crypto markets, number one, you know, let's go over the Twitter feed, see if any of it pops up at the top. So number one, Bald Rugged. And I don't know if they're actually rolling back the base chain or not. I saw Bob Laxton tweet something out from Coinbase, some announcement. Looked pretty official. I haven't had the time to do the any real confirmation on it or not yet, just because of the fact that I was so busy trying to figure out why my stream key was not working. But yeah, you know, so Bald Rugged, which was the first real meme coin on the base chain, which is Coinbase's L2. And afterwards, you know, there are a lot of parallels to make it to make it look like it was SBF that actually did this, right? So, you know, there is this. I don't want to jump. I don't think there is any full confirmation that it was SBF, but you know, like there's some credible information out there as far as the rumors that I could easily see to where there could be some truth in it. So, you know, and then this is what got me, you know, like a few hours later in the day, Salsa tweeted about it here. FTT, we saw FTT ended up having this pump right here. I didn't see the tweet that was sent out slightly earlier. So shoot, what's the name of that guy? Like Zoomer, I think was his name, that tweeted something out here, and within a few minutes, and this is about the FTX release and about how they are confirming their plans to restart with 2.0. So, you know, we saw a decent move in FTT, and I think that's where the actual filing was. So decent move in FTT immediately after. You know, it was easy for me immediately to jump and say, okay, you know, SBF is doing something to pump the chain, you know, after like, you know, but realized quickly it was going down a rabbit hole. Okay, yeah, so it was a parody account. Yeah. Anyway, so, but you know, the funny thing is about the parody accounts that tweet out that type of information, it's one of those things that, like, it just shows you Coinbase's track record, the fact that it's even semi-believable that somebody would talk about rolling back the transaction, which wouldn't end up doing anyway. Like, just shows you the type of confidence that you have for how honest of actors they actually are for the integrity of, like, what's actually going on in the space. So, but anyway, so FTT is on the move, you know, and honestly, like, I'll just take a second to look at FTT real quick. Dude, I have seen, I'm going to take this off log just to show how disgusting it is. And you know what's crazy? So, okay, I wish, you know, there probably is a chart that goes back further. Yeah, back there in like April of 21, there was a point, FTT up here was, you know, around $40, $38 for a long period of time. I had 170,000 FTT back then. So I had, you know, around $8 million of FTT. And FTX let me use that on their platform at that point in time for about $80 million worth of collateral. It was absolutely insane. And it would have been higher had I gone, I think, 100% into, you know, Bitcoin based on their IMF factors and everything else with the way that they were managing the risk of opening positions on smaller shit coins. But yeah, you know, like there was a point, and like that's how stupid and deranged, and you know, like you think you're God at a certain point. But you know, point being, FTX just let a random Joe with nothing, you know, like I wasn't even KYC'd on their platform at that point, have access to $80 million worth of leverage from this token that, you know, at the end of the day proved to be basically vaporware right here on that large of a scale. So if it was that easy for me to acquire that type of collateral, or that type of margin with that type of collateral, like I just, you know, what else was happening in the background? So anyway, it's funny to look at, funny to think back to. But yeah, you know, so here we are right now. You know, obviously major drop off right here. This is when the insolvency, everything else happened. And, you know, let's look at where it is right now, because I actually think this is really interesting. Like, looking at this type of accumulation pattern, you know, like you're seeing these major buys here, slowly bleeding off, major buy again, slowly bleeding off, major buy again. Is this the start of another one or not? Who really knows? But I'm looking at this, man. I've seen this happen with so many coins whenever they've bottomed out before, where, oh my goodness, why am I struggling right now to find, what the heck am I doing here? I need to get, dude, I swear they messed up trying shit for and I can't find anything right now. Okay, there we go. Yeah, anyway. So I have seen so many tokens that have had major sell-offs like this, right? Where you just have this mass liquidation event occur where they've ranged, you know, like right now we've got a set range between 85 cents to 80. And who knows, man, it might do that for another year. But it's one of those things where regardless of how much FTT is actually integrated into FTX 2.0, I have a hard time not seeing how this doesn't make a play higher whenever there is more concrete evidence of when FTX 2.0 actually does launch. And my assumption will be, you know, probably, I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say, but I'd be surprised if it's not sometime by early to mid 2024 because they want to get this up and running. You know, I get that the legal teams and the people that are actually facilitating everything here want to get paid as much as possible, but they'll still get paid as everything gets set back up. But yeah, you know, like, so I think it's one of those that if you have a tolerance for like a tolerance for a little bit of volatility, DCAing into this over the next several months probably ends up being a good play where, you know, like, I don't think that there's any chance that this fills the gap as far as any type, you know, all of the air that's between here and there. But I mean, hey, could it do something as simple as retesting? Oh, shoot, let's see this. I mean, hey, even if it does a fraction of that and gets up to the $5 area from here, you know, you're looking at a 300% return by, you know, in the next 18. And I get in the crypto space, there are a lot of people that don't have the patience for that type of, for that type of move. But anywhere else, like, that's an incredible return in a relatively short amount of time, right? You know, if you just retest this area right here, whenever FTT was trying to find a base back in the day, anywhere up in this range from like 5 to 650, I think that's completely reasonable whenever everything gets up and running again. Could it hit double digits? You never know. But at the same time, I think it's one of those where if you're looking for something, you've got a little bit of a longer time horizon for it. I think it's a safer play than a lot of people give it credit for. So, okay. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on FTT. Another big thing, obviously, was Richard Hex today, earlier, you know, getting sued by the SEC. Let's see how Hex is doing. We'll just go Hex here. How much is Hex down today? All right, a little over 30%. Not bad. Honestly, could be a lot worse. But, you know, here's where Hex gets fun. Let's just zoom out on Hex. Because they're like, Hex is one of those weird cults that there are people that still, even when you're talking about right now, shoot, it's down 99% from its peak back in September of 21. There are people that are still just cultishly obsessed with Hex. I don't understand it. You know, there are these corners of the internet that exist out there. You know, like there's an NFT Twitter that exists. There's a Hex Twitter where these people still are out there and worshiping Richard Hart. And like, when I see Richard Hart, the only thing that I can really think of that explains it, you know, is, dude, it's kind of like Trump, right? You know, like, I political affiliation aside, Trump, I don't know. You can't look at Trump and say like he is this God-sent hero, right? But there are a lot of people that love Trump and obsessed with him to the point just because he is so good at evoking emotion. right? And I really think it's the same type of thing with Richard Hart. And like, you know, two different comparisons. I'm not diving into the political side of it. Like, I lean more conservative myself, right? You know, I like heck. But anyway, like Richard Hart just has that same type of personality that I think really is polarizing to the point where you either love him or you hate him. And there are a lot of people that don't care about everything that he flashes, all the money, everything else. The fact that it was purchased with the money that they gave him in this Ponzi scheme, right? Like, you know, they see it as a sign of strength in the actual token and ecosystem itself. So, you know, at the end of the day, Richard Hart walked away with hundreds of millions, if not more. And, you know, he's probably going to get just a slap, you know, $10 million slap on the wrist. But we'll see. Anyway, so that was a rather larger event earlier today. Let's see. You know, obviously, so, you know, we're talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin finally has, dude, look at this. You know, we were talking a week right here. A week of just shopping in a 0.5% range here. After, let's see, you know, another month plus of just shopping in a super tight, like that's what? You know, 5% range here. From there, we've been stuck in, you know, a little over a 1% range there. But if you actually look at the daily closes, it was a 0.5% range. So today's little sell-off where we're looking in, you know, it's BTC is down $400 in the past few hours. It feels like way larger of an event than it actually is, in my opinion. You know, if you've paid attention to anything that I've tweeted out recently, I just think really simple market structure here. You know, I've been looking for a bounce back return to the 200-day exponential moving average for a minute. That coincides here with, you know, higher time frame support. So I think that it's a solid area. You know, who knows? Maybe we get something like we did over here where it broke beneath quickly. And, you know, I still think either way, you know, if you end up getting a dip beneath, you're going to get a decent buying opportunity anywhere in this range. But realistically, man, I mean, when you're zooming out, like, I still think anywhere in this 30K range is a solid place to buy. Like, if we go over to, oh shoot, dude, please forgive me, Lord. I am so sorry. I have sinned. This is going to be ugly getting into this because this thing is so full of shit, and I apologize. But yeah, this is BLX, the Brave Coin Liquid Index. I only use it occasionally. You know, if you're there looking for like what has the most historical information for price action on TradingView, BLX is the most extensive price action composite index that I've been able to find. So anyway, like you just get a little bit more info than you do any other exchange, right? So, you know, diving into this, let's just look at the halving cycle. Boom, halving, and we can kind of break down the insanity of what I put on the screen, right? You know, so this basically shows the time from the halving cycle, time from the halving to cycle bottom, and then the duration of base range before you ended up really seeing a move up, aka the beginning of the next bull market. So again, you know, right there it was 260 bars, so 778 days. 872 days here, and in the last one where we are right now, 908 days to that base. We can zoom in a little bit there. So 908 days from the halving to the base. So right in line with where the others were, slight extension. And you know, you can argue whether there was a potential that it would have been shorter or not. You know, this whole area right here with the FTX sell-off, almost see is just a giant deviation. You know, that was a black swan event. Ended up, you know, it was kind of like the COVID deviation right there. But either way, you know, 908 days. And, you know, if it was going to be there, say that the FTX thing didn't happen, you know, that still would have been within the acceptable range of what we've gotten on the other previous halvings. So yeah, you know, then you're looking right here. Um, I had the extension, the duration of the base range. Um, let's see. Yeah, duration of the base range in the yellow there. I needed to finish that out in the others, and I'm too lazy to do it right now. But, you see what I'm saying there. Short. I apologize. I haven't updated this shit in a minute. So it's ugly, but I'm talking through what I thought about as I went through this. So, give me some grace. Slated night. Yeah, but bear market rally duration. We're just going to call from here to there, our bear market rally. I don't know if that's fully fair, but I think it is relatively in line with what we saw. Here it was a 240% rally. Here, you still got from the base to the peak, still got a 98% rally. But similar amount of time. Either way, here's the most important thing to look at with this, right? So we've got the logarithmic support here. It's defined by the inflation of the total supply curve. I can bring that up as far as a chart that I put out there for you guys sometime to show how there actually is a strong correlation between the two. So if you ever seen the rainbow chart, that's basically what this is a rough drawing of that baseline of the rainbow chart that I have on here right now. The Q4 of every single halving cycle. So, if you break it up into quarters 1, 2, 3, 4. So this fourth quarter, it's basically defined by price action that grinds higher and is closely, just higher, but not deviating very far from this base logarithmic support. So, same type of thing here. Close to it, overall from Q3 to Q4, grinding higher. And that's kind of where we are right now. We're Q3, about to enter into Q4. I don't know. I need to do the math and see if we're actually in Q4 yet. But either way, I just see, could it somehow break that support line, the 200-day EMA, et cetera, that we were looking at and retest the low 20s? Yeah, but that wouldn't be the end of the world. Worst case scenario, that's why when I talk about when do I expect the next all-time high to be, I really don't expect it until later in 2024, early 2025. Because, that's in line with what we've seen each of these other halving cycles. And I'm a big believer in the fundamental effect of the halving cycle and the role that it has on the market as a whole. So I think right now, we're in a little bit of a boring phase. We're going to continue to slowly grind higher in here. There's a decent chance that, hey, maybe we are up in that 40K range by the time the halving actually hits. But either way, this is kind of the time-based capitulation area, right? This isn't where anything sexy happens with the majors. There's going to be deviation with a major every here and there. One that ends up kind of like what happened with Link last cycle, where, Link became a real major during the beginning of DeFi summer, whenever Bitcoin was just boring still doing this. Link was doing that. So, yeah, there are going to be few names that become big names in this mix and in this mix right here. But realistically, I just don't think anywhere, even if we do dip down to the low 20s somehow and we don't bounce first and continue that grind higher immediately, there's no reason to really stress about it, right? This is the opportunity that you have to be able to sit back, build, not stress too much about what's happening really, on the higher time frame price action, and kind of just trust the process that anywhere in this range, in this Q3, Q4 range, the past, every single cycle that's happened previous to this, you've ended up, if you have had the ability to be able to hold on to that for the next year or two, you're winning, right? So I really think that's where we are right now. If you have the ability to buy and hold for a couple of years, one way or the other, DCAing in this range, you're going to win. So, 40K is a magnet. I get it. It's a meme. But at the same time, it's really not. 40K is still a magnet here. Okay, we'll dive into Doge here in a second. I think that's enough, about Bitcoin. I'm sure I've bored you guys to death with that. but had to get it out of the way. Shoot, let me tweet something out real quick. Okay. So let's go to Doge. That's an old. Not saying it's impossible. We'll just clean this up. Okay. So anyway, like going back to Doge, high time frame, you know, we're looking at it. It has peaked its head above this high time frame resistance right here. You know, right now it's declining. Looks like it's ready for some type of a retest down in this area. And I still really believe the Doge is a solid buy. I had, and I tweeted this out a little bit ago, that I had my the ape zone a little bit off. I actually believe the ape zone is closer down to here. So, you know, I think that honestly, we get down to the low sevens. Realistically, though, anywhere underneath, like if you are a believer that Elon is actually going to do something with this platform and with the integration of X, if you're unsure what I'm talking about, let's go to Elon. So if you are unaware, boom, the day that he made the the rebrand from Twitter to X, he put XD with the Dogecoin logo right in his profile. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think Elon is a very calculated person. I think that there's a reason for a lot of the things that he does. That, you know, like, I would have a hard time believing that he doesn't follow up with this. Doesn't have to be in the next several days. Doesn't have to be in the next several weeks. Even if it's the next several months, I will be shocked if there's not something more about Dogecoin that is, you know, ends up being integrated into X. So, by the way, yeah, if you guys like the stream so far, again, if you guys could drop a like, you know, comment, whatever it is. I'm not sure what helps the YouTube algo, but whatever it is, if you're not subbed yet, sub. I'm going to be doing this a lot more often. I think it's more fun. But anyway, you know, so he tweeted out something the other day that something special coming soon. Whether that actually is and the integration with Dogecoin or not, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Like, I would not be surprised if that ends up being the integration. So I think what you're looking at here, you know, we already talked about how, you know, I'm looking for Bitcoin to bounce off that 200 EMA, the 200-day EMA slash, you know, like right now, I think it kind of aligns high 26s, low 27s, that type of area. You know, like, wouldn't be surprised if somehow that does align here with the low sevens on Doge. You know, which would also be a retest of this breakout from the high time frame breakout that we were looking at earlier. You know, stays in line with this trend right here, this slow accumulation phase that we've seen as it slowly started to grind higher. I don't know. I think if you're fortunate enough to see down in this range, like, that's where you punt. You know, like, that is your opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive. But either way, I really think the play with Doge is not worrying about the leverage, not worrying about anything else, but you know, just having a bag, and, you know, the day that he turns the meme into a reality, just be ready for it. All right, we got a new shoot. We've been going for practically an hour. Got another big booty going. Well, actually, or maybe I've just set the music going for an hour. Either way, I appreciate y'all being on here. So, yeah, you know, like, one of my, so y'all know the Bybit tourney, the World Series of Trading is coming up here soon, and that would be one of my strategies there. If you have not joined the Kaleo Army, you definitely should join the Kaleo Army. I think that, you know, a decent amount of people get. I need to look there and see the full details, but I think you get $60 just for joining my team. You know, like the first X amount of people, I'm not sure. I need to double check with them, but I know that there is something in there for that. And on top of that, you know, if you're signed up with my ref link on there, you get a 20% discount on all trading fees. And trading fees are part of the competition when you're looking at the overall P&L. And it's a P&L based competition. So you should, you know, definitely look into it. And like, I think that it runs from August 7th through the 27th. And the real thing with those, so you've got a 3-week window. The real thing with those type of competitions are, you know, there are going to be a lot of people that the day that it starts feel like they need to ape aggressively into a position and punt big. And I respect that, you know, like it's one of those things where same type of thing, gambling theory, if you're playing some main event, bet big at the beginning, double up early, and then from there, you know, lay off, manage the risk a little bit more. And it's a $500 minimum entry. So it's one of those things, if you don't feel like you can lose $500, yeah, and you know, even if you do, honestly, just like play it safe. And you know, if you're not one of the top 10 people on the team, doesn't really matter whether your P&L is low anyway, right? Like they only take the top 10 P&L of each team, and then average that out as far as the competition goes. But realistically, if you're doing that type of competition, I think that you want to be aggressive. So, you know, I think that you start it with $500 and I think that, you know, you wait until there is an opportunity, whether it's August 7th, August 9th, August 10th, whatever it is. And I really think a lot of those opportunities are going to come in the alt market where you can push a little bit more aggressively. And, you know, I think that when you're looking for an edge, looking at the insanity that is, you know, this shop that we've been stuck in the past month that we talked about a little bit ago, you're not going to find an edge quite as easily as somebody that's willing to, you know, be a little bit more degen and hop into some of those alt plays. So I'm going to be a lot more active as far as looking through a bunch of the alt plays the next month. Just because I want people that are on my team to, you know, try to find some type of edge there. So anyway, like that's, yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know, again, like it's full degen mode in the name, the title on this, because I think again, with that type of competition, it really is. It's like you go big or you go home, right? You know, 0 or 100. Water is air. I appreciate that. And let's see. Solana's the easiest play. You know, hey, I think Solana's another one of those. It's shown enough resiliency that like it is, if you can, like having a soul bag for next cycle, I think is smart. It'll survive, you know, who knows, maybe it'll have a Cardano-esque run. I think that would probably be the best comparison for it. Where ADA ripped to new USD all-time highs, but it never ripped to the new BTC all-time highs. So I could definitely see something like that playing out for Sol, where, you know, shoot, let's see this. Could it rip to new Bitcoin all-time highs? I mean, there's a possibility, right? Like, but does it? I don't know, man. I think it'll be tough. But again, as Bitcoin can, like, you know, let's look at ADA. I'll tell you guys what I'm talking about here, right? Oh, look at that. I love looking on charts of, you know, old charts that I haven't touched in a while and see them kind of playing out. And like ADA, I guess back in December, I was looking for that to happen. And yeah. So ADA BTC, right? Like Cardano absolutely melted faces late in the cycle last bull market. And then it just slowly bled off, you know, had a couple pumps here and there. You You know, and the Cardano, relatively, I would say the Cardano ecosystem was one of the louder ecosystems. The Hoskinsons is on the space still. So there were a lot of Cardano maxis that were still there, that were still hyping everything up, and that were still called crazy in this whole range. They didn't have the NFT ecosystem to really bolster things. You know, DeFi infrastructure wasn't really there yet. I mean, heck, they didn't even have smart contract integration yet. So, I mean, how the hell were they really going to build anything? But it was all in the hype, right? So, you know, I forget if this was a Shelly mainnet release here, whatever the heck it was, you know, super hyped up as far as smart contract integration. And ADA BTC ran up all the way to it, right? So, you know, comparing this though, like, let's look at the ADA USD chart. Shoot, that's a terrible chart. I gotta go to like Binance's or something. Okay. So look at that, right? ADA USD, the orange line, and just to make this clean, we'll do them both lines. ADA USD, the orange line. So, you know, it peaked out, whatever the heck this was, you know, I think a little over $1 back in that cycle's move, and ended up more than doubling here. And this is a 3 to 10 cent range that it was accumulating in forever. Like, it was the most painful thing to watch. Yeah, it was accumulating in that range forever. The only person that I can think of off the top of my head that had huge conviction in it, his name's Beastly Orion, you know, an OG from the last bull market. And Beastly, dude, just absolutely killed it off his conviction of stacking throughout the years here. So yeah, you know, Shiskumi Splurgles, I had to say your name because it was a fun name to say. You're right. Like, there are a lot of normies that I think are still really obsessed with it. So, you know, like, is ADA going away? No, this is not me saying that ADA is going away and that it's dead forever, right? Like, this is just me kind of comparing two different hype cycles of ADA was an L1 that was super hyped the previous cycle, wasn't super complete yet. And I think that was part of the appeal of it. And I think Solana's in the same breed, even though Solana has much more built in it. I mean, the space as a whole has matured a lot. So I think that, you know, the correlation as far as the hype cycle still translates, just on a larger scale. And if you're looking at it, again, ADA BTC never quite got up to its all-time high, but the USD, you know, did print, right? It printed well past it. And, you know, from its base, it definitely outpaced BTC from BTC's base. So I definitely think there's going to be an opportunity for Solana, where Solana, you know, like, I see it kind of doing something similar to this, right? Where it definitely has life breathed back into it, and it prints to a new USD all-time high. And, you know, I just have a hard time seeing that actually translate to a new Bitcoin all-time high. So we'll see. You know, could be wrong, but again, if you're looking at oversold shitcoins that actually have a chance of, you know, life being breathed into them this next cycle, Solana is obviously another one that I think is going to have a solid chance if you just have the patience to be able to accumulate, kind of like my friend Beastly did here, and wait for all that to play out. Give me just a second. I've been talking too much. I need to get a sip of water. So that's touch grass integrated. Interesting. Okay. You know, hey, again, dude, I'm all for Sol. I'm not trying to talk down on Sol here. I'm just trying to be realistic as far as my expectations for next cycle. So I think it's one of those things, as Sol would approach its all-time high, you know, like, we can go back to Sol BTC. So we can go back to Sol, you know, as Sol does approach that all, and this is probably like, dude, that's bullshit. It's not going to do immediately that, as fun as that would be. You know, Like, let's be real here. It probably does something where it curves up. I don't know what the hell that banana was. But anyway, probably curves up to there. That's probably too long. You know, has a period where it kind of closes up toward that breakdown level from the pre-FTX level. Consolidates there for a little bit, mid-2024, and then maybe it does rip. Right? That, I think, is a much more likely Sol BTC chart than what I had drawn right there. And I think realistically, if you're looking at the BTC price comparison, though, like, you've got to take some... Deleting that shit. You've got to take some level of profit whenever it hits levels like this, right? Like, you know, as far as taking profit, I mean rotating back into BTC or, you know, whatever it is. Like, we need to look at the market as a whole at that point. But yeah, you know, if you have patience for something like this to play out, I definitely think it's possible. You know, it just doesn't always happen as fast as a lot of people want it to. Because a lot of y'all joined during this period right here, right? So you're, you know, from August to September, boom, you know, it did a 4x basically. So that's what you expect. When you expect up, you expect, man, up only and up really fast. The thing is, as you're coming out of a bear market, you get up, but there's a lot of volatility associated with it, and it happens a little bit slower than what you're used to. But yeah, you know, I still think Sol is a solid thing to stack, and, you know, like, patience pays. Okay, what else do I want to talk about tonight? Do I think the next dominant L1, L2 has even been created yet? Are we done with the ETH? No, there's always going to be a new ETH killer. Oh, LTC. You know, LTC is great to mention. You know, we've got the halving coming up in a couple days. So let's just quickly talk about LTC. I may be on an LTC stream with Crypto Jack on the halving date. So I will let y'all know on that. Let's go back to the candle chart here. Dude, this is just such a painful chart to look at. It's LTC versus Bitcoin. And it just, you know, continuously it's been painful. I don't know, man. Personally, I think it prints new lows. You know, we had the last halving, I think, August of 19. You know, it was around 4 years before. Let's see what happened. August of 19. So June of 2019, from May to June, there was some pre-halving hype, which looks like it waned off pretty quickly. And I think from there you see, like, boom, halving is somewhere in this range right here. It just slowly continued to bleed off. Slowly continued to bleed off all the way through the bull market. And that freaking bit me in the ass because there were so many times I was waiting for Litecoin to do what Bitcoin did. And it never did. It just hurt so much. So, you know, like, Litecoin hurts me, man, looking at these charts. So, you know, here we are now, right? And I think that's kind of similar to, like, not nearly as violent as the move that we saw back in 2019, unfortunately. But, you know, here's your the pre-LTC halving hype pump. And if we're being honest, man, like, the unfortunate truth in it, like, I like Litecoin. Hey, maybe it's got a quick little pump there as far as having hype, but realistically, I think it does this. You know, just slowly and surely lower. And if you're like, oh, Kaleo, you know, how do you expect it to just print new lows? You know, let me show you a really fun chart. Zcash versus Bitcoin. I don't know why I'm looking at it on Gemini, but yeah, Zcash versus Bitcoin. There's got to be like a better one. Let's go to Polo. Okay, look at that, man. Gotta make it a log so you can fully appreciate it. Can you believe that there were multiple days that one Zcash actually traded at the price of multiple Bitcoin? It's true. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen the meme, one Zcash equals 7 Bitcoin, but it is a real meme. And I think that's kind of where it came from, was that would be the prophecy. Like, dude, look, that's an old line I had drawn from who knows when, from, I guess, oh, dude, no, that's painful, because the Zcash, I remember this pump right there hurt, man. It broke out. I had aped into it there. And, you know, I think this correlated from it going to 285 to 385. And then, boom, man, that collapse was brutal in mid-May. Oh, so yeah, that was a remnant from the last bull market. So yeah. Anyway, but point being, Zcash, everybody was always like, oh, you know, it's not going to go lower here, right? What happens? Oh, you know, there's your all-time low support. Ooh, little dead cat bounce. Boom. Crashes through. Okay, you know, chops. Ends up kind of reclaiming that sum, makes a new range. No way that it's going to make a new all-time low here again. Please say no. What ends up happening? Boom, early 2023. It just keeps going. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. When you look at LTC, you know, like, it probably makes from here, after the halving, a new all-time low versus Bitcoin. I just think that's like the obvious next progression of it. And I'm not saying this because I don't like Litecoin, right? Like, I just don't see what's really that special about the halving that's really going to drive any type of higher prices immediately. Like, it's one of those things, it's kind of a little bit scary too when you're talking about a chain that is becoming that much less profitable to mine. I'm really curious to see what happens if you don't get a pump here with miners and just with the overall security of the network. You know, it's one of those type of things where it, you know, I think the halving is great from the perspective of a chain that is thriving, but the same type of dynamics don't necessarily work equally with a ghost chain. I don't want to call LTC fully a ghost chain, but, you know, it's not the same breed as Bitcoin, right? Like, so I don't know. I'm going to do a full write-up on LTC for the halving, so be on the lookout for that. But let's look at LTC just in terms of USD. Yeah, so I mean, what does that look like in terms of USD? Oh, shoot, why is this? Yeah. I don't know, man. Something maybe like this. Still kind of what I expect, you know. Again, here's the halving, the last one in August of 19. Dude, look at that. Just pain. So realistically, like, that's probably what we get, you know? Like, this was through the Bitcoin halving in May of 20, slowly found its bottom, started climbing up. You know, the Bitcoin halving, honestly, I should probably extend this line. You know, extend all these lines. And it probably does something more along the lines of this, right? Where it just slowly bleeds out. Probably doesn't go beneath these November lows, but, you know, does it retest them? Yeah, like, I don't think that's crazy. So if you're really looking to accumulate LTC, I think the play would be just be patient until it reaches these lows, right? If you get that opportunity, maybe that's where you stack. And you're just patient for that breakout play. And if that's later into 2024, that's when it is, right? But, you know, outside of that, I don't see any reason to really rush into anything right now. So yeah, you know, like I want to be that negative person again. This is not me shitting on Litecoin. This is just trying to level set here. Okay. So we've done that, you know, before I log off because it's getting a little bit late, though this has been a lot of fun. You know, small audiences are always fun. Appreciate you guys helping me. And again, I just want to ask one more time, hey, if I run this stream back, how's the music been? Like, as far as its level, is this a good level of not distracting, but, you know, still keeping the engagement rolling? You know, dude, yeah, my brain is starting to fry, so I apologize. But yeah, you know, let me know on that because I don't want it to be distracting, but I want to keep the vibes going. Okay, perfect. Appreciate it, Mr. Wonky Stonks enthusiast. And shout out, if you guys don't have a stonk, you need a stonk. If y'all don't know, yeah, that is my NFT project. I will shill it all damn day, and I dropped it as a free mint back in October of 2021, and like, I am going to make this into something special. You know, if it, like, my pride, everything who I am is associated with this. I don't start a project and then quit on it. So yeah, I started as a free mint, and I truly do believe that the charts are art, right? Like, and you know, when I look at each and every one of these, they're completely fully generative. You know, there's an algo that did, so it's not copying price action from anywhere else. I think that the charts are art, and like the history of that will translate to something great the next cycle. So obviously I'm biased, but you know, like, I'm not going anywhere, so the stomps aren't going to go anywhere. So anyway, so let's go over to this. I told you guys I'd do a little bit of Degen stuff. If you guys want me to look at anything else, so here is ticker Bitcoin. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, looks kind of brutal. If you're looking at overall where it is, I would say, you know, it kind of looks like that right there, right? Where it is right now. You know, when you're talking about from this last move, it did a 15x. So probably has a little bit of time to cool off. You know, as much fun as it's been, that would be my take. So yeah, like, you know, if you want to really, I wonder, does this let me do bar patterns here? I have a hard time seeing it go any higher. What is its, you know, but then again, I mean, it's FTV, $58 million market cap, so it's not insane to think, could this be multi-hundred if it did something like what Peep did? You never know, maybe. But hey, I mean, maybe I would see something like this much more likely from here than just an immediate rebound, right? Like, you know, this, as much as people want that, I don't think that's nearly as likely as this. If it is going to stay bullish, if it is going to make new highs, it's going to go through something like this first. So I don't think that this is where you FOMO in yet. You know, maybe you grab a bag, but, you know, I don't think there's really any rush at the moment for this one, personally, at least. All right, give me other tickers. I will check literally anything. All right, you know, I'm curious. I want to see what else is out there. Ticker names. Let's see. Is there like a? I think I saw Solana one exists. Barbie Crash. Bandicoot RFK 888. What is the market cap on this? 1.61 mil. Wow. Yeah, so Solana on ETH. That's interesting. It is only a few days old. Wow. I don't know, man. I mean, again, the way I look at this is it's almost like with NFTs where you have a really successful project that minted out, and then within the next week or two, you have a derivative of that project. By the time the derivatives started moving, you know, the other project was nearing some type of local top and ended up correcting from there. And what happens, right? Like, you know, as the main ends up going down, the memes of the main ended up going down that much more. They were much higher beta play. So, you know, I look at it and I'm like, you know, I don't see anything on the chart here that immediately is screaming to me that it's going to do anything like what Bitcoin did yet. You know, like I would ask a couple other questions. If Solana, like the real soul, has some more hype, you know, would it end up climbing from there more than it? Probably, right? Like, so I don't know, like might be worth keeping an eye on, but you know, $1.6 million market cap, that's the only other thing I can think of. There's got to be others. What about Doge? There's got to be a Doge one, right? I think I remember. That's not it. Yes, that's what it was. Okay, that looks like pure shit. That's $120,000 shitcoin. I don't know, man. Like, I look at something like that too, and I don't know the meme coin market very well, right? Like, I'm not aping into these things. You know, this would be the type of thing, though. I would see something like that only a few days old, doing well. If the real Dogecoin does well, this somehow probably ends up out pumping it. But I mean, dude, it's got 120K market cap, so like, how much can you really realistically put into this to be able to exit? You know, like $1,000. I guess, you know, $1,000 at a 10x would still be like 10 grand, but I don't know. I mean, like, it's the thing with meme coins. They're smaller plays, smaller multiples. You know, let's check out on Etherscan. What does the contract or the holder percentage look like? You got like 403 holders. I don't know. See, like, what I don't know is what percentage of that, like, I would have to dive into it, is actually the person that deployed the contract, and whenever they remove the liquidity from that, you know, what is keeping you from being stuck with something like a base token? So let's see. Chart walkie stonks for me, bro. All you have to know, I you know, they're inevitable. That's all you have to know. So let's see. What else do you guys want me to go through? Any other meme coins? I see some of y'all want equities. I'm going to save the equities for tomorrow. I saw somebody said Genie. $1.8 million market cap. Dude, I don't know. Like, I look at this and this screams pain to me. And maybe I'm just, you know, being too much of a boomer here, but I don't know, man. Like, what is... I don't think it's something that, hey, could it rebound? I'm not sure, right? Like, I think it all depends a lot on the meme market at this point. But I think what I'm seeing right now across the board with a lot of these meme coins is you've got to move up here, right? Up into about a week ago. And then you have a slow bleed across a lot of these. And this, well, I say slow bleed, that's a pretty damn heavy bleed. So you have a bleed across a lot of them. I think realistically, what you're talking about at this point, you've had the major growth across a lot of shit coins, right? I think from here, you know, the best you can hope for is something like that for these, right? Where I think that, right, we're in a little bit of a cool-off period. Where, you know, there are going to be a few of these that survive and a few of them that maybe do something like that, kind of like what I outlined with, you know, Bitcoin earlier. So I see something like this as possible. But, you know, if you're looking for an immediate bounce back, I just don't think it's one of those that you ape in. So I think that, you know, like, and there's no guarantee also. I don't know anything about the contract of these shit coins. I'm just looking at this from a pure chart perspective. There's nothing here that I see that says buy me right now. Right? You know, so if you have some other reason for conviction in something like this, hey, maybe you just plan on slowly like looking for where that range really ends up. Wait until this bounces, see kind of where that range develops, and start just buying, you know, averaging your way within the range. But, you know, outside of that, I just wouldn't rush into it. Bald, dude, Bald is rugged. Like, there's no reason to look at Bald. Ader. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to see one of these and it just completely changes my mind. Okay. You know, there you go. So Ader, that's interesting. It's got a market cap of 34 million. How have I never even heard about this? I don't know. Like, dude, that looks interesting. I kind of see it though, where I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah. Tried to make a new all-time high. Rejected there. You know, I think best case scenario, what you're looking at with something like this, again, you know, look at each of these others. Every time that it tried to do something like that, rejected. So if it has a chance of actually continuing this insane growth cycle that it's had, you probably also have an opportunity for a better entry. You know, looking at that, maybe it does something like this. But I really, really think, so it is similar to kind of what I'm seeing with the rest of the meme market, right? I think that we've had that 1, 2, 3 week window where everything was just going crazy. And I think right now you're looking at it where if the meme coins continue, there are a lot of names right now that you probably have opportunities to get better buys. Or, you know, if you're majorly up, maybe you have the opportunity to still take some off the table, be patient, and then wait for some of those dips. So I think that, you know, like realistically, that's what you're looking at. You know, if I'm just looking at this, again, without knowing anything else about these projects, that would be my bit of advice for you. Unibot will be my last one to look at, and then we're going to go ahead and call it. Yeah, that looks like shit. So I know the chart goes back further than this, so I don't know why. I guess that's just that pool. But anyway, yeah, that looks like shit. Hey, you know, it's funny though. Here a few days ago, I replied back to Base Carbon, who has just absolutely crushed this, where Base Carbon was talking about making a 300x and all this, the most that he's ever made off a trade. I'm like, bro, and I can pin it to right here. I was like, bro, my best recommendation, sell right now, because anytime that I've ever tweeted that type of stuff, emotional reaction on the winning trades, it is at or near a local top within 3 days of a local top. And not only was it at or near, it definitely pinned it. But I mean, I can't take that much clout. You know, that dude was in it since May, whenever it was, you know, sub $5. So I think I think he accumulated it sub $1. So either way, like he crushed that. But yeah, you know, the type of sentiment that was on my feed whenever we were up here was insane, man. So, you know, I think that right now that's the general consensus that I'm seeing right now across a lot of these meme coins. It's just that they've reached a little point of exhaustion. Does that mean that they're done for the year? Probably not. But, you know, I think right now looks like they have cooled off a little bit. Looks like easy mode has been turned off. Might be a better way of saying it. Doesn't mean there won't be winners, but it looks like easy mode is off for a minute. Yeah. So I think that's right now kind of the message right now across the board, right? Like, you know, whatever I'm looking at, everything that I'm seeing is just, hey, patience. You know, stack the high conviction plays that you're waiting on for the next several years. But if you're looking on playing on leverage, or if you're looking into the next great meme coin, you know, or the meme coin that was great that you're trying to stack, like, you know, you got an opportunity if you just wait a little bit. So I think that right now is still not the opportunity to rush into major positions. It's the opportunity to just sit back, be patient, let the market develop a little bit. So I will. Can I chart Pudgy and V? I can do that tomorrow. I'll look into it. I will also look into. I'm going to do a lot more equities stuff tomorrow as well. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, you know, hey, again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure, or this live stream, make sure to drop me a sub. You know, show it some love with a like. Any type of comments in the comment section, I think that boosts the algo to whatever it is. I'm going to slowly build out this channel. And, you know, hey, maybe one day actually docs for y'all. Maybe we'll get into it. But I've seen a steady decline right now in the past few minutes as other people are getting tired like I am. And I think heading off to bed. So love you guys. We will see y'all tomorrow, and we're going to keep this rolling. I really enjoyed this. You know, it's different than doing a space, because a space, you're like entertaining a room. Here you actually have content to talk to rather than just fully describe. So I kind of like that. Yeah, no, Tom, I'm just getting back into, I mean, I say back into, I've never really done it super actively, but going to get back into it a little bit more, man. So... yeah, definitely enjoyed this, y'all. Appreciated it, and we will see you guys tomorrow.